Let's have a look at making textured leaves from old tea bags for autumn and fall crafts. Hello and welcome to the Treasured page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. Today I've got the paints out, I've got the tea bag papers out, I've got wax paper on a roll here, so I've got a sheet of that. I've got a brand new paintbrush, that's exciting, from IKEA, so I've just taken the top off, taken that one out. I have just had a little go at doing red leaves, or certainly making red leather effect tea bag paper. Let's have a look at that one. This one's drying. So this is the drying one, red and rustic. Now you've seen me make this sort of thing before, where we have ended up with mock faux leather made from tea bags. And I'm going to be making a little booklet journal out of this, which we have seen before. So really this is the embellishment, how to embellish it with other colours. So what I'm going to do is just show you how I did that. The first time you saw me putting the glue down, then pasting the tea bags to the wax paper. Well, I'm doing it again. I really like the wax paper because when you heat it up, the wax bonds in with the tea bag paper. You can't get it off and it creates a thicker paper, a sort of gnarled paper, gnarly, bobbly, textured paper, and that is what I want for my leaves. So this is how this has come about. I'm going to do, because I've already done the red and I was just playing, I'm now turning the camera on to do the greens and the yellows as they turn to brown. So I'm going to do that, so I've got two different colours of leaves to play with at the end. For this we're going to need a waterproof washable PVA glue, we're going to need the paintbrush, we're going to need coffee filter paper or tea bag paper, or tea bags, so we're going to use up those that I was starting to collect. I've got a sheet here of tea bag paper which was an offcut. That was sent in to me all the way from Australia from Faith, so thank you for that, Faith. I've been using it. And then I'm going to bring in a tea tree essential oil just to add a scent to the product end result, and that is just because it had tree in the title. I felt like I was getting in the zone for trees and falling leaves. Now this could be a project for any time of the year. It does not have to be for autumn and fall. It could be for spring or summer. It's just all down to the colours that you use. Alright, so to start this off we need some glue. I'm not going to be doing a lot of fabric here. I just want a concentrated amount. I'm going to just cover whatever I've got here in this glue mixture. So for the glue mixture and paint mixture, we just need some shots of water just to loosen it up. What you don't want is big thick load of paint and glue. It really needs to be more of a stain than a paste. So we don't want paste. So if you're doing summer or spring, you're going to want light coloured like that. That's what you would have for spring, with a touch of darker green. That would be your spring colours. Let's just have a look at that. So if you're doing brand new growth, okay, so we want leaves like that. That's interesting and fun, okay? Now let's put some tea tree oil into this mix here just to scent my final piece. Ooh, that is nice. And then we're going to have some yellow and we'll work that in with the glue to just get some different variation of colour. Woo! Okay, so I'm just sort of spreading this out. Could be doing this on a plastic sheet as well. I'm just using this because I want the thickness of this paper at the end. These are the colours that I pulled out. I've got a lime green, sort of a vert green. I've got a yellow. I've got an ochre colour brown and sort of a medium warm brown burnt sienna colour. And then I've also got this darker green, which was sap green. So I've put a little bit of that there, and we'll have a little bit of this up here. And then this is my leaves turning into more of an autumn feel. I've got this had coffee in it, so we're going to put that down. And what I'm going to try and avoid is any gaps or spaces, so I should be overlapping. But the beauty of this paper is that the liquid seeps through, because that's its design, and that just helps you when you're placing everything down. You don't have to do a lot of the work. So what you are looking for is when you've got your tea bag, it comes in a double thickness like this, where it's a bag and held the tea. You just want to separate it, and then you get, you know, it does, I've ripped that, but if you do it nice and neat, you might get two neat squares. It doesn't matter about the joins, that's only going to add to the texture. We don't want smooth and neat, we want rough and rustic. You're wanting crinkles, you're wanting texture, you're wanting rough edges, as I said, rustic. So just make sure it's single thickness. This is quite a strong paper, and wear gloves if you're going to use the oil and you're worrying about any kind of sensitivity. Do wear gloves, but or don't use the products, that's fine. This is just a optional extra because I like the sensory element that it brings. You know, you don't have to get your fingers anywhere near it really. We could just do it like that. That's actually easier. Or a chopstick. There we go, that's better, then I'm not getting in a mess. I can get a bit more over here. And then you can sort of hold it up and you can just double check and see if you've got any holes. I think we might have a bit of one there, so I'm just going to... So I've got this lace that I'm not particularly excited about. It's pretty, but it's fine, and I think it's just, could be just right for adding in here. Then, get my stick, just get that into the gluey mixture. I might put a little bit more PVA over the top of this. And then a shot of water. And then just sort of merge that into the ideas going on here. So we're getting good coverage with the paint over the lace. That's looking really cool. Oh, right, I'm sitting on this dreadful chair, but I am going to be getting a new one. I'm very, very pleased to say we finally hit the target over on Ko-fi, and thank you for all your amazing support. So I have just, with my husband, we've just ordered the IKEA chair that I'd like. Hopefully it's okay. I'll report back when I get it, and hopefully it'll be comfortable. It's a conference chair, and it's got padding on it, but it's adjustable and it spins. So I'm on a wooden original dining room chair, and it doesn't rotate when I do. And I find that I'm always spinning around to try and get something, and of course I'm going, but my chair isn't. So it's twisting my back, and that's not great. That is not what I need. I need to look after my back. So I did need a swivelly chair, and I do need one that's comfortable. I just want one that I can just relax into and sit, and my back be supported, and I can go up and down with the height I need for when I want to do different crafts and things. So anyway, it's on its way, and I'm really excited. I've got some ink sprays here. I've got a vintage photo, a walnut stain, and I've got a tarnished brass. And I just think, you know, these are nice colours. So let's see if I can have a shot of, well, that's good, that splatters. Okay, so we could also do splatters to get little spots. You know, you get the spots on leaves as they start to turn. These are oxide inks, so they will sort of react in the moisture as this is drying, but that's interesting as well. So I've got that going on. So these are the distressed oxide sprays, really useful for a lot of ideas. And then I've got tarnished brass, which is a goldy colour, and that is all lovely. And I'm wondering whether I could have got a spray out of this, but I think this one has clogged and really needs a good... Oh no! Oh look! Oh, I thought that one was clogged. Perhaps it's one of the other ones. Okay, let's just maybe spread some of that out a little bit. Go like that. What's that looking like? That's quite fun, isn't it? So this is all going to be the leaves. So a bit of green. You do not need to do this. This is just me playing. This is me in my element. You do not need to flick paint around. All you needed to do was the glue and the ink and the water. So it's really important that you water your paint down. You don't want thick, gloopy paste of paint. It will just go crusty and hard. That's not what we're wanting here. I think it would be fun to have a bit of... Oh, so it really is an all or nothing product. I think I'll leave that. That looks okay. This is the heat gun that I use, and I'll leave the link below for this so you can find something similar. It gets very hot, and it is useful for any sort of mixed media. I do find that I use this a lot, but then I like to play. I'm not just playing with paper. I like to play with textures and paints and glues, and I'm impatient, so I like it to dry. So this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to give it a shot of... there's a lot of moisture in here, so this would take a long time, but I'm going to just start the process off, and then I'm going to leave it, go and have a coffee and come back later, and then we'll have a look at what we've got. So this is a really fun process. It does take a time, but then that's part of it. It's just to sit down for a couple of hours and just immerse yourself in some real interesting artwork or mixed media techniques, and the end result is something that you will then be able to use quite a lot in a lot of different little projects. They can be added to clusters and all this sort of thing, and so it is worth just spending a bit of time, because it's just nice. You're not wasting time. You're just having fun in your quiet space. And this is what it's about. It's about time for you, making that time to just chill out, to step away from your usual day-to-day and just relax into something that you wouldn't have otherwise done. And it's quite nice to be able to give yourself that permission to do it. So there was quite a lot of paint on this one, and also I wanted to try and squash down some of the bits that were sticking up. So I don't want to remove the lace, but there was quite a lot of paint on that, so that's blotted it off. So just while we're waiting for the paint project to dry up, I want to show you this. Look at this. Look what I've received. It's a painted parcel, and this has come from Jeanette. So the lady, one of our ladies in our swap group, has sent me her TN, and it's just absolutely fabulous. So I just wanted to show you that she has also done a painted parcel following inspiration here from the treasured page, and it was just such a thrill to receive it. I can't tell you. So if I'm excited about receiving it, and it's something that I do, then what are others going to feel when they accept something like this? So yep, hashtag painted parcel, guys. If anybody would like to join in and paint your parcels over this season and New Year and things like that, that's just going to bring so much joy to everybody. So I just wanted to show you that because I thought that was wonderful. And all the girls that have received one of my painted parcels have written in to say thank you, and some of you are trying to make journals out of it. You've been able to get the stickers off, as I was able to get them off of this one. And yes, it's totally possible to be a mini journal cover, and if you've got it painted on the back, which Jeanette has done here, you know, we can use portions of this and create something. So it's great for happy mail, swapping around to others. So it's a good idea to paint your parcels if you've got some sort of card, thicker card, and also if you have if you paint on normal paper, you could then tear that up and stick it to a normal paper envelope. So that's another way of getting around it. If you would like to have a little go at the sweeping paint techniques and then collage over it, you could do that on plain paper, just packaging paper, just paint on, and then that be the thing that you tear up or cut up or stick on, and you can have a painted element to your parcel. So yes, we are all going to try and do that this year. For the rest of the year, to bring a little bit of joy and happiness and just spread some kindness around the world, please, guys, because it is such a valuable thing. And you wouldn't believe, you know, just this little ripple effect that perhaps we can have with our butterfly wings around the world, just trying to bring kindness, empathy, love, all the people's hands that your parcel will go through to get to somewhere else, and it just got that happiness and that love radiating out of it with some creativity bursting off of it. I just think that's excellent. So the more people that can do that and start something, let's start something. So hashtag painted parcel, put that up somewhere on the social media, and let's get going with that. I'm going to invite other creators and anybody with their YouTube clips to paint their parcels, because where are mine? So anybody with a YouTube channel, get painting your parcels. I'm collecting them up, so I've got another one there and another one there to do. These are the ones that I've done, and you can see these in the beginning of this mini series. So these are my mountains. So we've got those to go, so that's all happening. They're going to be going off to places all over the place, and then we've got this beautiful happy wow, whooshing wonderful wonderment coming up at me from there. So that we want to try and see if we can send that around the world. And this was a beautiful leather effect from Jeanette, and she has put glycerine and water on packaging paper, so I definitely want to have a go at that, because this feels like a nubuck leather, really soft feel leather, suede, like a suede. That's what that feels like, whereas mine feels like a leather from a handbag or a shoe when you do it this way. So there's lots of ways of creating a leathery effect. But the key to this paper leather, that one's lined with fabric, is to water down your paint so it becomes a stain, not a thick paste. So that's how you can achieve that. And then I've put shoe polish over the top of it, and that wax shoe polish has sealed it in. And they feel soft to touch, pliable, really nice. It feels just like a leather. So that one is going to become a journal cover. I just need to line it with something. So that's all the glue on the inside, but it's not strong enough to be a leather, of course. It's just a paper, but it's just for symbolically journaling with. Gives you that leather effect. I'm loving that. That's so good. So we're just going to put shoe polish over that one, and then that's great. But I'll just quickly show you this, because this is what I've been sent for my little TN here, and Jeanette had a go, so I hope she doesn't mind me showing you, but it's absolutely stunning. And all the little sketchbook papers in here and everything that she's bound it up with a nice twine, and I love it. It's rustic and cool, and it's got paint splatters and blotting paper type styles. You know, that is thick cartridge paper you could use. But this is what gave me the idea. She sent me these leaves, you know, this lovely autumn leaves, which you can get in the craft shops, absolutely. But I'm going to use those as templates now to create the leaves that I want to out of my leather paper. But look, she sent me a little specimen of a fern, so this is going to go in the botanical journal. So thank you. We will put that in a minute when I am less gluey, and find a place for that And she sent me some lovely lace trim as well in this wonderful swap. She's lovely. Aren't people so kind? Such kindness. This is what we want, guys. We need kindness spread around. So find someone to send some fun things to, and get some love and joy around the world. So what do we think? A tag, a journal cover, ooh, all sorts of interesting ideas. So let me know. Nikki from the Netherlands was written in. She said she has found everything in the pack that I sent from the last giveaway. She feels that she could make a mini journal because I even put a little sewing kit in there. So she's going to bind her papers with the sewing kit. And actually, I hadn't even thought of that. So that was excellent. So I was really impressed. So I'd love to see some pictures. So you can put them up on Instagram and hashtag the treasured page. Or you can put them up on the Facebook group, which is linked below. Both of them are linked below. Let's have a cup of tea. Okay. Right, let's make some leaves. So I'm just going to get my brown shoe polish, which is like that. I've lost the tin lid. Oh, I've sat it down on the sticky paint. That wasn't very clever. Right, amongst the sticky paint, it is a dark tan shoe polish. And I'm just going to rub on the brown shoe paper here just to give that, well, for leather effect, but also sealing the paint in, sealing everything in, darkening down the tones, and also protecting it as well. So a shoe polish contains a wax. So the wax is going to harden. It's not a soft wax. It's a special wax. It's also combined with a turpentine and things like that. So it's designed to seal and to harden. Okay, so this is just going to seal in the paint, and it's going to give a nice feel to the project. The stain from the shoe polish is a sheer, so as in you can see through it. It isn't going to stop the red tone coming through, but it will make everything a little bit darker. It just makes your end result look a bit more like a leather, and certainly gives it that feel and a leather smell. And this is it's just a natural wax product. It isn't, you're not introducing anything here. No animals were harmed, so it is a vegan leather, vegetarian friendly, and you can just enjoy something that you've made using things that otherwise would be disposed of and thrown away. Okay, it's just very, very satisfying to be able to use a material that you were otherwise going to dispose of and recycle it into something, repurpose it into something that you can now use, a new material. And I'll show you what we're going to do with that in a minute. And it will start to look like more satin feel. There's loads of texture in there. So we're going to cut leaves out of this now material that has been made completely out of scrap stuff that we were otherwise going to throw in the bin, apart from what was sent to me by Faith, which was the teabag paper, which was lovely. But the actual tea bags that I've salvaged from my morning cup of tea is going to be turned into artwork, and I just want to replicate what I've been given here because I just thought they were really, really cool, and I'll have green ones as well. And then the other idea is to just freehand draw them with a pen, so I can draw leaf shapes, and I can draw this as a template to go round. So it's just, if you're not happy with drawing freehand, you could use templates, you could use something from your craft room such as this, or you can go and get an actual leaf from the garden. Let's do that. Okay, I've just been out to the garden, and let's just have a look at the colour palette of the turning autumn leaf colour that we have got going on in nature. And this is a colour palette from my garden, so we can see the different tones here, turning that yellow, turning green, yellow, brown of that. And this is a Virginia creeper. This one came from, no, that's not, this is a blueberry and lemon balm, blueberry. This is a silver beam, very pretty. That's the transition there. Look at that. The transition of colour from green through yellow tones to brown, absolutely beautiful. And then there we go, there's the brown leaves, and that's just that russet colours. So that's what we have got going on here. We can sort of see some of those tones, although that's very bright, isn't it? So actually could have gone a bit brighter, tone in with what we've got here. So it's within the colour scheme of nature to what I've been able to create from my memory here. And that is interesting. So over here, where we've got the green, again, it's been knocked down to brown because of the shoe polish and everything. But we're not a million miles off of what we got outside. And that's just absolutely brilliant. So I haven't got the yellow colour there. That's really interesting. And look how you get the green inside the veins there. So you know, we really do need to study nature a bit more. And we've got this sort of oxidised and the spots and everything, which I was trying to get here, where I've got the spots again. So we see that sort of effect. So I'm pleased with how these have come out. It could have been a little bit lighter in places, but that's okay because I don't think I wanted it too bright. But aren't they beautiful? It's just so lovely to be able to replicate some of the colours and tones that we see outside. I don't particularly want to get marker pen on the leaf shape that I've been sent, but I'm just going to loosely use it as a guide. And just sort of these maple leaf type style leaves, sycamore leaves, that sort of shape, and that will give us that. Probably only want two anyway, and I'll just have that will slot in there. So let's copy that one. Maybe a jagged edge, that's sort of fun, just as a rough idea, and this sort of shape as well is really cool. Start cutting out our leaf shapes. I'm left with these scraps here. I'm going to put those to one side and we'll reveal what our leaves look like. They actually feel like leaves. It's really strange. So we've got some of the different reds. Look at that one. Absolutely brilliant. You can come down. Let's have a look. So you can see the different tones and beautiful golds coming in there as well. That's just obviously artistic license there. But this one I think is really fun. So that's going to be the cover, and then we're going to bring in just some nice sort of rustic colours here. Maybe with a nice red at the back. Put some gold on the leaves just to highlight the lace there, and then it just burnishes it over the top and brings in something a bit more fun. And then I think I'll do the same here but with gold. Really have that one as a bright gold bit on one side. I've got this cover of a magazine. It's sort of a supplement that's come through the door. It's quite thick in its paper. It's quite nice heavyweight paper, and double thickness is absolutely perfect. And if I fold it again, I've got a really nice flexible type of cardstock, and I think that is absolutely perfect for lining my little booklet here. But I'm just wondering whether I want it a fraction bigger. That's plenty thick enough, and then I can bring this in. Use some stronger glue, just covering the junk mail, and then I will be putting it down like that and putting it on a slight angle just so that I can make sure I've got enough that will go all the way around all the edges, because I was a little bit short there. And that's smoothing down there nicely, and then I'm going to fold it in like that. This could be any kind of paper. It could be it could be a fabric. Bring the other side over the top of it, which is going to look like that. We'll choose, that's the front, that's definitely the front. You can see that that's really nice. Gently squash that down all the way around. Make sure we're happy. Okay, so I've got this arrangement here with our lovely leaves, and they look quite nice, and I found this little fox image, and I think the whole idea that because this was a challenge that I set actually, and now I'm finding the challenge, is that when we swapped with our other swap partners the month before, I tasked everybody to send something orange to craft with. And when my swap partner sent me something orange to craft with, she gave me lots of bits of paper. And these are the orange things that were sent to me by Shirley in the swap. So thank you, Shirley. This is great. These are all interesting options. So what you've sent me here is a orange piece of paper, and I think that I could just add that in as one of the pages for the TN, so that takes care of that, because we had to add something orange. So there's my something orange. But I know you will write to me and say, hang on a minute, I sent you something else. What was it? So what Shirley sent me and challenged me to add to the journal was this, a little plastic fox. And so I've got to incorporate the little plastic fox into the project, and that's fine. I will do that, which is why I've got a fox image here, because we're going to have a fox theme. And I'm going to somehow attach the fox hanging off and be my fun happy mail. So this is what's happening. So I've got the leaves here, I've got the fox, and I've got to somehow attach the little fox there, but he's lost some of the paint on his eye, so we've got to do a bit of restoration work there on his eye so he can see straight in the winter months coming up. Okay, I've got a little paper bead here which I've made using some book page. You can see how I did this in previous videos. I'll leave a link below. And I'm just going to add a little bit of copper onto this bead here, just to give it a bit of interest all the way around the edges. Okay, I'm going to put some eyelets in the project. I've got my crocodile here, and I'm going to use, I've got the smaller side because I seem to have got a few of these little eyelets. I'm just going to check that they are the little ones and not the big ones. No, they're the little ones. Okay, so we want a little hole. I'm just going to use the crease. I can see where that needs to be. All right, so here we have the sewing all the way round, and we've got eyelets in position, and we've got a nice elastic been put in there. So that's the sewing, just so that you can see that with the fox. I've gone all the way around, and this overhanging piece of fabric is eco-dyed fabric, which I dyed using plants and things from my garden back in the summer, and we had rusty nails that brought in a black element because it was natural allium from the rusted metal, so that's why it comes out with this dark marks. You can very loosely see some leaf shapes there on this one, and it was more about the colour tones and natural tie-dye. Using a very thin vintage cotton, 100% cotton, I have managed to get quite a nice effect with different colour tones. It's just a great fun process, a really, really interesting technique. So the video of me doing that is in one of the playlists, the eco dyeing playlist in my channel. Have a look for that. I'll leave the link for you. But this is the inside, so I've put the bead there. This was just a length of elastic that I had left over from the last project, and the knot is tied inside. So if you'd like to see how I do that, you need to look at the other Traveller's Notebook. There's 3 parts to that of how I've made one of those, so I didn't want to cover old ground when it's already there and we've only just had it. So have a look in the playlist for the autumn and fall crafts, and you will be able to see the 3 videos about putting together a TN. But this is a fabric lined one, which is slightly different, and we've sewn all the way around but leaving the fray peeping out. You could put the bead on the outside as well. It's just a nice clean look to have it like that. And then that's where the papers will go. When it comes to measuring your papers, you can open your cover like that, nice and flat on top of the papers that you've got. And then for a nice, quick, simple way of doing it, I would measure up, come in ever so slightly. Just let's pull this over, and so that we know that that width would sit in nicely inside, leaving a little bit of a gap. And then just tear the pages down. Okay, here we are. So I've teared down the papers, and I've got 4 here, 4 sheets. This is just for Happy Mail. This is going to one of my swap partners. This is going to Bernadette, and we've been friends for quite some time now, and she sent me back in the summer the little something folder holder, which I am now swapping back to her. So this is how it goes on. So she sent me this in the summer. And, you know, I think you've seen this before, and I absolutely adore it. So it's got all the little bits in it that I like to have a look and occasionally pull from and think, oh, yes, I wonder what's in there. Because sometimes some of these bits are from her, and then other times I've added them or I've made them. Actually, let's give her one of my little painted toadstools. We'll add that. I think that's really cool. So I have got them all pretty much exactly the same size, but when you have a look at your eyelets, if you've come in and then you've got the start of the elastic there, you've really got the allowance of that space there, and you haven't got the full space. However, what I've done here is I've taken a little notch out of the ends, or out of the center point there, and I've just used a hole punch or a circle punch. This one is a 1/2 inch that I've used, but you could absolutely just use a normal hole punch there, and you just come in and take a little chomp out of top and bottom using the circle punch, and that's how you can then get to use a more full-sized sheet of paper fitting perfectly in. So if you've realised you've cut your papers a little bit too wide, or you do it on purpose, that's exactly how you can deal with that. So you can just be able to cut them top and bottom, and then they fit in and give you a lovely look, and it's quite a nice look to have it like that. So on the front here, I've added one of our little pockets that I've made during this little mini series here on the autumn and fall crafts. So you can see how I've done that. That's just using the free digi kit that I've got, a little freebie that's up on my Ko-fi for the 1840 newspaper copy. So that's quite fun to make some little pockets. We've got autumn leaves there, scraps and fabrics, and a wax seal. We'll put that over on another paper page for her. And so maybe I'll add that at the back, a little fun find. We'll do it on an angle with a, let's have a little paper clip there. So that's just something extra to find inside. And I think what I'll do is I'll add in some Japanese script paper there. I've got a torn bit there she can have, and then writing papers so she can write notes. You can move the bead by putting it up like that, but the whole purpose, so you could move it up, the whole purpose of a TN is that you can take the paper out, and then you would be able to embellish it and do something with it. And then when you've got your papers, when you've finished, when you've taken it maybe on a little weekend away and you've journaled and you've done some fun things, maybe you've written or journaled, you've done some collage and a painting or a sketch or whatever you might want to do, written a poem or added a photograph, you could then sew down the centre of that and that be a kept piece. You could then put a nice cover to it and that be sewn or bound into a journal. So I think that this is quite a nice way to keep papers to create a signature but keep them safe. So like, that's the signature that I'm working on. So each time I could take a sheet of paper from this and be working on it if I want to sew on it, or if I need it to come away from the journal and I don't want to get glue or mess or stain on any of the other pages. It's easy to just slip one of the pages out and go and work on it however you want, free from the confines of the book, and then you put it back into the book at the end of the day, and then later on that is something that you sew into another journal to make one of your signatures. So the whole idea of a TN like this, if you wanted to, is that you could make 4, one for each season. So we're going to be doing that so we can have these on the go if you want to build up your signatures and work on it like that. So we're going to have a look at that idea in the new year. We'll start off with the winter one, and then we'll do spring and summer and autumn again. So this is this is happy mail at the moment, but it's forming an idea of how to store pages of a signature that you want to work on, and then ultimately you bind it all at the end of the year and you've got your journal all sorted. So this is one idea for something like this. And then, so that's nice, and I can add my little note and say hello, that's from me. And then what I'm going to give her is a little scrap of fabric to add to her clusters and things that she might want to add in here. And I'm going to have another paper clip that I've embellished, and over here I've got some autumn images of squirrels and owls, so I'm going to put those up there. And I found this vintage stamp of a beetle, which I think is really nice because it ties in with the colours on the other page, so she could use that for her autumn crafts. And there we go. And then that's how that's looking. And then there's free paper there, and then she's got the fun find of that at the back. That's a brilliant, absolutely excellent happy mail. Couldn't be happier with that for a very dear friend who I think could use a cheering up this season. And if you'd like to have a look at how I've made this one, you can have a look at the 3-part journal series on my process for how I made this one, which is a totally different look, but you can see that this is how you can start creating. This one's got book corners on and it's got a nice closure. It's not finished yet because we're going to be putting some papers in there, and I'm going to do some dyeing, hopefully tomorrow, with dyed papers using some fruits and things, so we'll have a look at that. So I am thankful to everybody that supports me over on Ko-fi. Couldn't be doing it without you, to the extent that I now intend to be doing it in the future. So with that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and to everybody that has helped me buy this new chair, which I cannot wait to arrive. A huge thank you to Terry, who helped push me over the edge of that target, and to the anonymous supporter as well. Whoever you are, bless you, thank you, and above everything else, guys, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.